All right, so I've never been accused of being soft-spoken. I don't think I'm gonna start tonight. But could you please help me give a big applause to Ryan and the team for putting this together? Can you all hear me okay? Okay, because I think, like I said, I'm trying to get away from the sun as well. So I'm like, to the light, to the light. Okay, I don't take myself seriously either, which is, maybe I'm not a good person to be in politics because I'm a human, right? But first I want to say thank you to all of you. I know that we are living in uncertain times, and the first thing that I want to do is acknowledge that all of us are tired of dealing with COVID. We're tired because this is an issue that we learned about last year. It's an issue that we could have done some things better to protect our country and our people. And right now, the toll of lives lost is equivalent to all of Shawnee County. Just for a second, imagine that with me. Shawnee County is gone. The other thing that I want to acknowledge is that I see somebody with a Vietnam flag. And I want to tell you, sir, thank you for your service. You are a hero, and I appreciate you and every single person that gave their life so that we could have the freedoms that we have right now. Thank you. So, why am I running? And why am I here? I'm running because I don't know if you've heard my story, but I'll tell you a little bit of who I am and what makes me me. Because I often think that we try to tell you about the issues that we care about, and we fail to talk about the issues that you care about and why I, as a human being, relate. Yes, I was born in New York, and yes, I was raised in Puerto Rico, and yes, I can provide a birth certificate if ever asked. So let's get that out of the way. But here's who raised me. My grandparents raised me. My mom had a really bad issue with domestic violence early on in her life. And because of that, she ended up going to Puerto Rico. My grandparents tried to do a part in raising me, but eventually my mom was not liking the questions and the prodding of my grandparents, so we ended up moving away. And very quickly, I found myself, like many of our kids in our communities right now, as parents are trying to figure out how they're going to work their jobs and have kids go to school at home. I was one of those kids that had to live by the premise of, here's some Chef Boyardee, here's some Salisbury steak, do not open up the door for neighbors or for any strangers until I get home. And you grow up way too quick. By the age of 17, I found myself in a really bad situation with my first boyfriend. And when I went to ask my mom for help, she said I provoked it, so I went for a jog and I never came back. And I started couch surfing. And little did I know that I was homeless. Because I would always figure out a way to sleep, right? And I would always figure out a way to eat scraps. And I never knew how bad I had it. Obviously, Puerto Rico does not have harsh winters. So it's a very different situation than being here, but it's the same situation that many Americans are facing today. And we often forget that we are 2 paychecks away of having to live that reality. But I understand that. The same way that I understand the difficult choice of finding out that I was pregnant and calling my family and letting them know that at the age of 19, now 20 actually, I was pregnant, and I was told that I could fix that problem with $250. And I said no, because I'm not wired this way. This child did not have a choice, and I choose to have my child. And I did. And even though it's been a very challenging journey, I do not regret making that choice. But that was my choice. And then, after that, I found out after I was getting my life together that I had cancer. And I had to figure out, thanks to the mercy of Father Pat and many other people that came into my life, how to get treatment. And then Father Pat, at that point in time, because I had gotten Section 8, and I was getting my life back in order, and I got a chance to go back to school, Father Pat said, Michelle, you need to leave. Because you have some talent that you don't yet see. And you need to figure out a way that we're going to get you out of Puerto Rico. And thanks to the grace of God, I ended up in the state of Kansas. Wichita State University. Who would have ever thought? And I had so many people when I was there, where are you from? Puerto Rico. What are you doing here? Saving my life is what I was doing here. Because Kansas, make no mistake, saved my life. And it was individuals such as you all who came, ordinary people that did extraordinary things just by caring, who saved my life. Even when I met a guy and I repeated the trauma that I understood of domestic violence. Even after I had my other two beautiful girls that are with me here today, and we had to figure out how to do our life. Even so, throughout that whole process, I understood that I am not me because of me. Because I didn't even have boots to pull myself up from. I had the boots that were given to me by the compassion of others, helping me find my worth. And that's why I love Kansas. And the reason that I'm running, after having a great career at Evergy and after being involved in social work through Habitat for Humanity, building houses as the executive director, helping families get their credit back in place, because I knew what it was like to lose a house, because I lost a house after the divorce in foreclosure. I didn't want anybody to have to go through that. The same way that after I had a stroke and had more issues of cancer, I remember not knowing if I was going to pay my bills, because I was going to be darned if I didn't feed my kids. So it was, which bill am I going to pay? But I'm not going to take my medication, or I'm not going to go to the doctor's appointment. And as I started becoming involved and started hearing the stories over and over, and after becoming mayor, I started learning that what I was able to provide in regards to roads and jobs, in a good environment for your neighborhood and your kids to grow up, wasn't enough to take care of the needs of the people that were looking at me for leadership. So I was asked to consider running for Congress, and I said, are you crazy? Who would elect me? But then I sent out letters, and I think that Ryan probably received one of those 400 letters that were sent out across the district, in which I said, hi, this is my resume, I'm considering doing this. I'm gonna start calling across the district to see if I would be a good match to represent you. Because make no mistake, any representative, especially when we're so removed in Washington, D.C., has to reconnect to the people they're serving, so that the voices that they're using when they are in the chambers of commerce are yours. It's your voice, it's not my voice, it's yours. So after hearing story after story of a person that told me that when their husband got cancer, they got taken to a room to talk about their financial situation before they talked about their health. After hearing stories of a veteran in Leavenworth that told me that Opdivo was 5 figures a month to get treatment. After hearing the stories of families not being able to get access to broadband, and then we wonder why our rural communities are not having the economic development and the jobs that they deserve, so that people who love to live in beautiful cities like these can live here and have great jobs. After seeing the issues with the roads and the bridges, after hearing the plight of our farmers that are struggling to sell their cattle, and make no mistake, our farmers are not just feeding people in Atchison and in Kansas, they're feeding the world. And because in DC we forgot the people that we serve, we entered into wars that are hurting our farmers and thus our economy. It's time to stop the craziness. And my heart broke. My heart broke as I heard hospitals closing all across District 2. 4 hospitals thus far. And how the one livelihood that our community clinics have, like the one that I heard of today, here in your hospital in Atchison, the 340B program, which is the lifeblood of all these clinics, is being threatened right now. And to make it even more insulting, the state of Kansas was in path to do bipartisan work, which is what we also are supposed to be doing. The parties don't matter as much as the people that we serve. You had one legislator gavel themselves in and eliminate coverage for over 150,000 people that are desperately in need of health care. Right here in Atchison, 15% poverty and 7.3% of people don't have access to insurance. And that's the county. That's the county. My friends, we can no longer afford 4 more years of decimation, of division, of negativity. And while right now it would be very easy for me to tell you, vote for me because I'm going to be great and I'm going to solve your problems, what I'm here to tell you is that I cannot be your hero until you decide to be your own hero. Until you decide to understand the value and the power of your vote. Until you decide to understand that you are to hold the people that you elect accountable to serve you. Not to serve their special interest. Not to serve the corporations that are paying them to remain in office. Until we decide to wake up and recognize that the power is within us. And that the system is broken in producing what it was meant to produce. We're not going to be able to have heroes to stand up for you and to elevate your voices. The only heroes I see are people like him who served our country. We need to stand by him so that we don't have to have issues when they need medical care. When their needs for mental health after coming from serving our country are not met. These are not the values that our country was founded on. And believe me, there's some serious mistakes. When we said for all, we forgot women and people of color. And it's okay to say that and still love our country. But we have to be able to have the conversation. And just because we say these things does not mean that we have to have animus against each other. Friends, we must come together. Our Republicans, brothers and sisters, are struggling because their party has gone so far away from them that they are finding themselves lost. And it is up to each and every one of you to let our Republican brothers and sisters know that being a Republican is not bad. That being a Republican doesn't mean that your values have to go so far that you don't even recognize them. And that there's people that are willing to support people and not party. And that it's okay to venture out and try to understand. Because believe me, when we talk to each other with hate, we cause more division, and those who seek to separate us win. This election is going to be dependent on every one of you doing something different so that in 60 days, our country looks and feels very different. I need you. I need every one of you because I can't do this alone. I am nothing but the vehicle and the voice to stand up for you. But I need you all to stand with me and to stand with your neighbor and to love on your neighbor and to be willing in the face of anger to say, help me understand. Because I would love to learn why you're upset. And I would love to help understand so that I can help you through this. All of us are tired. All of us are tired. But we can all muster a little bit more love. Thank you for being here this evening. And I am going to stop jabbing so that you can ask me any question that you want. Thank you. I'm going to tell you some stories so that you laugh. So I began working as a mayor in 2017. And we had a really tragic situation in our community with Dominique White. One of the young men in our community was running away from the police officers. It was found that he had a firearm. And when he made a movement, our officer shot and he was struck dead. And that was a tragedy. And we all wish that we could take it back. However, in that process, our community came together with our Black community and our minority community and our indigenous community. And we started having conversations about relationships with the police. The city of Topeka is only the second one to have a strengthening police and community relations program that is derived from the Department of Justice. The Police Executive Research Forum that was started by President Obama that talks about how to move policing from warriorship to guardianship has chosen Topeka as the #1 community that they are examining to do reports on. We have been adding mental health training, de-escalation training, bias awareness training, and we've been doing all these wonderful things to engage back in our community. Now, Because we've been doing all these great things. Miraculously, 2.5 years later, we are defunding the police, and we are enemy number one in the eyes of some of our friends, which is something that we have to learn to talk about. There's people that are being scared and told that defunding the police means that we're eliminating our police department. It's a horrible name. We are not defunding the police. What we are doing when we talk about reform is making sure that our officers are safe when they go into a neighborhood that is not a Caucasian neighborhood, and that our black brothers and sisters feel safe when they see the police officer. Okay? That's all this is. And acknowledging that our police departments, just like every department in the city, has room to improve and figure out how to work with the communities that we serve. So I'm absolutely proud of the work that our police department has done. Do we have more work to do? Everybody, I have more work to do. But I am an absolute supporter of making sure that everybody feels that they are being taken care of by our police department in a fair and just way. Dear God, yes. Yes. But please make no mistake, the president spoke about this in his convention speech, and people are terrified all across our communities in Kansas. Make sure that you're ready to say that is not a fact. That is not a fact. That is not a fact. It's okay. I know you're scared. It's a term that is very well, badly used term. It's not a fact. Yeah, like the term right to work, correct. Other questions? Yes.
We've seen assault on voting rights in this country over the last 3 years like we haven't seen.
Assault on what?
Voting rights.
Voting, oh yes.
Over the last 3 years like we haven't seen since Jim Crow. How do we address this? How do we re-strengthen access to the ballot for all of our citizens, regardless whether they live in a Democrat city or rural America?
I think that the most important thing that we can all do is the blessing that we have in Kansas is that we are able to request an absentee ballot. We need to ensure that we go to our neighbors and we tell them, do you have one? Let me get one for you. Here's how you fill it out. We still have time to register people to vote. Register people, help them get their ballot, and then ask them, do you need me to pick it up and send it to the mail for you? Because that is the great equalizer. I'm telling you that yesterday, I think it was, I was talking to the Massachusetts Dems, and Ms. Timms, who is running in Dayton, Ohio, was telling me that there's robocalls occurring in different parts of the community saying, if you go and vote, you're gonna be prosecuted. I mean, it's horrible. There's some bad things. It's not happening in Kansas, but these are things that are happening, which is why it's so much more important that we all are able to tell our brothers and sisters, hey, you can just send it in the mail. Or just pick it up and drop it off at the county office. But let people know about the options, because right now what is being challenged is our safety. I just was told today that in Cambridge, Massachusetts, they were picking up postal boxes. So it's real, but we can do it by mail. And Kansas is a great state that allows us to do that. Let's capitalize on that. Saying that one of the things that we have already talked about is that my daughters are still going to high school, and we're not moving to DC. And one of our plans is that at least once a month, we'll try to hit 2 counties, and that way we'll hit the whole district every year. And that's crucial, because if I'm not willing to stand in front of you and sometimes disagree on some issues, but respectfully let you know where I'm at, but also be willing to listen to your viewpoint, then I'm not doing my job. Because it's really easy to go to the places where there's money. I don't care about the money as much as I care about the people that I'm going to serve. So money right now is a necessary evil so that we could get our message out. But no, this is going to be the MO, and he's going to be here to hold me accountable. Right, Ryan?
What? Yeah, I'll be here.
Yeah, we both speak fluent sarcasm, so you got to be careful around this. We have to do this together. We have to do this together. We have an opportunity. We already had a historic turnout in the primary. Let's finish the job and do historic turnout here in the general. But that's not going to be, because I cannot touch every single person in your community. I am making myself available, but you guys need to be inspired to bring people in and make sure that people hear the stories, that people understand the differences between the candidates, and then let them choose. But we need to make sure that we create a generation of empowered voters that understand that this year matters more than ever. I've heard this in so many elections, but I tell you what, there has not been an election that is in the crossroads of 1918 and 1968. So, I mean, we need to step up this year. We need to stand up. Other comments or questions?
What about the environmental issue?
Absolutely, environmental. So for me, the environment is extremely important, but anything environment related has to start with our farmers. Our farmers suffered significantly last year. I will never forget flying back home and seeing the floods. And it was just heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. I can't compete with that. Healthcare, but in addition to healthcare infrastructure that includes not just our bridges and our roads, but broadband, it's a great equalizer, it's supportive to our education, and I consider education part of our infrastructure, okay? Because it's crucial. In addition to that, our farmers are the other thing that I'm very concerned about. So infrastructure, absolutely, we need to continue investing in our infrastructure. Since our president came into office, there's been a promise from our infrastructure package that has never passed. And many places across our state are struggling with infrastructure issues. We must work on this. And it's not just our roads and our bridges and our broadband. It's also our water systems that are completely outdated. And if we don't know how bad it is, ask Flint to see how bad it is. So we need to continue making sure that we make investments, because this is a great way to get us out of the recession that we're in right now. Putting people back to work as soon as it's healthy and possible. Infrastructure is a really quick way to make that happen with great paying jobs. Okay, she said, talk about Medicaid expansion at the federal level. And Medicaid expansion is a state issue. The legislature in the state of Kansas has to approve it. My job in Congress is going to be to make sure that the dollars that are coming to the states right now, which by the way, Kansas has missed out on $2 billion from federal aid. That those dollars that we missed out on are still available so that people can be healthy. The other thing that we need to make sure in Congress is there's 3 lawsuits trying to disband the Affordable Health Care Act. And make no mistake, all that means is that they're trying to take away pre-existing condition protection. It's not a drill, it's not a joke. We need to make sure that when I get to Congress, God willing, we will work to protect that protection so that everybody has equal access. The train like that. But we need you. Kirk needs you, I need you, Governor Kelly needs you. She needs you desperately. We cannot afford another 4 or 2 years of leadership that does not care about you, and that is so much more concerned with supporting a party that they forget that the only P that matters is the people. It's you. It's all about you. And if your life is not improved by the policies that we're putting in place, we must hold our elected officials accountable. And we know that, hey, I'm going to be just one body out of 435, but I should be able to come back to you more than once to say what I've been doing and how I have been trying to move the needle on your behalf. That has to be an expectation. Expect it, demand it, and let's work together so that the next time we see each other, and next year at least, hopefully I'll see you before next year, of course, but at least next year, I'll be talking to you as your congresswoman, making sure that I know exactly how to talk about you.